jump to 59 here. A very companion question is, how do you increase your energy level for an interview? How do you go in and put your best foot forward?
Yeah.
Boy, the best, my favorite thing, the most attractive thing is interested and curious. So do all the homework you can on the organization you're going to go be with, and really try to imagine what might be interesting here, and then actually get your genuine interest genuinely up and lead with that.
Yeah, I think it's also, I'm not even sure that necessarily having your energy up for the interview is the goal. Your goal is to match the energy of the interviewer.
Oh, okay. You don't want to scare them.
Yeah, you don't want to be so up and
I do that sometimes.
Yeah, you can be a little scary.
That's right.
But I think what you're looking for is a connection with the interviewer.
Right.
So you'll meet some interviewers that are a little lower key, particularly if they're in a technical field,
sure,
or not in a marketing or sales role, but in a different kind of role. They may be more analytical. They may be less open, verbose, extroverted in personality. So you really want to kind of be just maybe 10% more enthusiastic than them, but not twice.
You're leaning in a little bit, but not scaring them. Maybe the key word is to be fully present. Can you really be present and have your attention on what's going on? Like, this is really what matters right now. That means don't be up all night the night before. Don't go flying in from something else and you're distracted.
Yeah. And
learn yourself well enough to know what are the components that go into a good and enlivened day. I mean, do I need to have had a good breakfast? Do I need to listen to a song I really like on the drive over? I mean, give yourself a break so you're in the best frame of mind you can be.
And do be careful also with the research thing. It is good to come into the company with some questions and some research, but I've just recently had a student who's applying to the master's program come in and say, I've read all of your papers and your work on, thermonuclear fusion is brilliant, Dr. Burnett. And I said, that's not me. It's a different guy. So do be careful.
Yeah. Anytime you say, I know, just say, it kind of looks like, or it seems to me, from what I've read, it appears I may have that wrong. Give yourself an out to not be stupid.
It was an uncomfortable moment for the interviewee.
That was the other Mr. Burnett. Oh,
yeah. And then, after you got that high energy interview and you got the job, how do you leave a job?
How do you leave a job? I have a lot of practice. I've quit many times. I've actually thought about writing the Quitter's book. I was asked to write the Quitter's book, the Quitter's Handbook. I have a very simple premise here. Is number one, absolutely nail your job. Do a very good job right up to the second you're going to leave after you've done it. When you quit, just quit. Don't get into a big long story. You write a letter, you walk into your boss and say, for the following reasons, I'm going to be leaving the company effective 2 weeks from now. Boom, you're done nice and clean, no big agonizing deal. And then you you make sure you don't leave a mess for the person behind you. You clean up your job, you finish it well, and if you want to knock their socks off, you write a short 1 to 10 page manual on how to finish the work that's still going on in your absence. So the person who walks into your desk actually has some notes to work from. I've usually done that and gotten rave reviews for quitting well.
Yeah, I think it's that. It's quit well, quit efficiently. Don't stay in a job for years that you hate and underperform and get bad reviews and build up bad karma and the whole thing. If you've outgrown the job or the job has moved past what you're interested in, simply make that decision. It's not easy, but that's where the discernment techniques and listening to your heart.
It's just a job.
It's just a job, and then you say, this isn't for me anymore. It might be a great job for somebody else, but it's not for me. Don't make it personal. It's not about, the boss or the boss's boss or the company or anything else. And simply say, I've decided to leave. You don't actually even have to tell them why or where you're going or anything else. You can if you want to. Give them 2 weeks' notice. Leave professionally, and don't leave a mess.
Right. That's really it.
It's a small world. The good you do as you leave and the impression you create as you're leaving the company will follow you just as much as any project, success, or anything else. So
people will pay a lot of attention to your behavior between the day you quit and the day you walk out the door. That's a really good time to be in your best behavior. Most people don't. How do you prepare for something you're unqualified for?
Yeah, so it was a question on how do if other than informational interviewing, how do you get that job that you're really not qualified for?
How do you make a big change?
Big change. You don't have experience. Well, first of all, we're going to say you're going to go do informational interviewing. You're going to find out what the job is all about.
Learn what it requires.
Yeah, learn what it requires. But there are lots and lots of things. What you're basically going to do is you're going to say, it looks like this role requires leadership, creativity, and somebody who's a self-starter. And although I've never worked in a waste management sewerage facility before.
Never done sewage before.
Never done sewage before. In this other role, let me show you what my leadership was demonstrated.
In the toy business, yeah.
Right? And then let me show you where this, how my creativity applies to a situation like
so
this.
Thing one, transferable skills. So you find transferable skills, not necessarily directly transferable exposure and knowledge. That's thing one. Thing two, if there really are critical things you need to know that you don't, go get them.
Yeah, go to school. Go back to school.
Training
take
or
one class, take one, in art and design world, you're building your portfolio, you take a class, you take a project, you volunteer on something for free just to get the experience.
Right.
When I went from the toy industry to the computer industry, I did exactly those things. I just scaled up. I just went up one abstract layer and said, I bet this is about high volume plastic parts and knowing design process and these 6 CAD skills and I assembled a portfolio of previous work that showed I had done those things, but just in a different,
different world.
This is a Han Solo doll. This is a Macintosh computer. Let me tell you how they're exactly the same. And it works.
Right.
It works. Takes a little more storytelling.
There are risks you can take. If they're going someplace that they have fallen in like with you, you've successfully gotten a relationship going, but gosh, you don't know anything about this. When I got hired at Apple, they said, after 14 interviews, we really like you. We think you're an Apple kind of guy, but the problem is you don't know shit about our business. I said, well, what do you want to do about that? And they said, well, we'll give you a trial for 90 days. And I said, great, you give me a job, but you don't think I'll fail that too badly. I promise I won't try something I know I can't do, and I will learn the rest on the job. And that was enough to get the deal. Companies will be willing to take a risk and have you learn on the job, but you have to be honest about what you don't know. Just like Drucker's thing about self-knowledge. If you can be honest, look, I don't know how to do this. I think I can learn. Here's how I've demonstrated quick learning before. Here's why you'll be okay within 2 months or 6 weeks. And just take the hit. If it's too important, they won't do it. That's all. You have to make a judgment call. So transferable skills, learn the stuff you need to learn, and the stuff that's missing entirely, frankly, be honest about it and see if they'll accept it. But that perfect candidate that looks just like the classified ad, she doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There's always a compromise.
And it may be that just, the circumstances demand they fill the role, and you were the guy standing at the door with the brightest smile
at the right time,
and the best story at the right time.
How do you generate resources for the periods in between jobs? Vocation question, how do you handle when you're not working?
Well,
savings.
If by resources you mean how do I pay the rent and
I think that's what they're saying.
And, continue to buy video games, it's savings. A thing that nobody in this country does anymore, but that's a good idea.
Yeah. Credit, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, no, I mean, if in general you're saying, well, how do I keep myself going between jobs? How do I keep my emotions up, my spirits up, my personal resources up? I've been between jobs a number of times. It's always been a great
fabulous time, yeah. And getting a job is a full-time job. By the way, you go to work at your job of getting your next job.
Okay. And know when you're doing that, and know when you're actually taking time off.
Right.
I did a startup. We sold the startup. I said, I'm not going to work for 6 months.
Right.
I did not work for 6 months. I took classes.
Right.
I drew. I painted. I went to the beach. I wrote poetry and
while spending your savings.
While spending my savings.
Right.
And then I said, okay, that's over. Now I'm looking for a job.
Right.
Nothing is worse than you talk to people and say, how long have you been looking for a job? They go, I've been looking for a job for 8 months. I go, really, what have you been doing? Oh, I sent a few resumes out. I
posted on Monster.
I posted on Monster. It's like, that's not looking for a job.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
That's hanging out.
Yeah, that's just hanging out. So know when you're off and you're taking time off. And it's always a good time to take time off between jobs, even if the ending of your job wasn't voluntary. The reality is nowadays, you're going to be laid off once or twice in your career. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the economic cycles and the way people manage companies. When that happens, make a conscious decision, as we would always argue, be consciously involved with the decisions you make in your life and say, I didn't mean to have a vacation, but am I now taking a 2-month vacation followed by a 6-month job search?
Right.
And wouldn't it be nice if I had the resources, i.e. the money, saved up so that could be a 6-month vacation or a 3-month vacation? You'd be surprised how little money you can spend when you don't have a paycheck and how much fun you can have.
Absolutely.